Hey good people, I'm back again. I just finished my walk. Okay, so this is the last video I'm gonna do for the day. Okay, I came to you guys early today. I'm on top of it today. All right, so second question that I had gotten, and this is in response to videos that I did on ketogenic diet, the fallacies of a ketogenic diet, on and it started bringing up fat loss questions / topics, and so I am following up again with this because this one is getting me the DMs. Okay, and I said in those videos basically that I'm a carb burner. I don't try to I'm not trying to become a fat burner, okay? And then I don't need to be a fat burner to not have to have a good BMI and good levels of fat in my body, okay? And people are, I want to conceptualize this for you, okay? Because you need to understand when you want to do something, you got to kind of understand how it works. I explained the process quite in depth in my community, you know, in video format and in audio format. I explain things. So if you want the in-depth explanation, then you got to go there. On here, I'm going to give you the quick and dirty concepts, okay? And then if you want to understand why I say what I say, then you got to go there in order to get it. All right, so let me give you the quick and dirty concept when it comes to burning fuel in the body, in the cells. You don't burn sugar, and I'm going to use terms very intentionally now, okay? Before I use things interchangeably, like for instance, people use the concept of carbs and sugar interchangeably. Right now, going forward, I'm going to use them. I'm going to not put them in lanes, okay? You don't burn sugar as fuel. You don't burn fat as fuel, and you don't burn protein as fuel. I'm gonna put these in a different concept for you guys so you guys can understand. What I just said is true, but it's not true. Let me explain. All right. Protein, fat, and sugar are calorie sources. Okay? Your body is not burning them as fuel. Your body takes either sugar, fat, or protein, and what it does is it accesses the carbon atom in them for fuel. You use carbon as your fuel source. Period, point blank. People are trying to get away from using carbon as fuel. You cannot get away from that. Your body will take one of these calorie sources, either the sugar, either the protein, or either the fat, and it's going to process it via the digestive process, via certain organs like the pancreas and the liver. It's going to process those molecules, and because it wants to access the carbon in them, and it's going to use that to drive its process, its fuel burning process. So you've got to learn, this is the concept that I'm trying to, you have to think about, you only have 3 calorie sources: sugar, protein, fat. Calorie sources. Those calorie sources, all of those molecules contain carbon atoms. Your cells want the carbon atoms. It's gonna get them. Either you are perfectly adapted to access the carbon atoms in order to drive the ATP production process. You cannot get around that. I don't care what you're burning. I don't care which molecule you're trying to force your body to use to access the carbon molecules. It's gonna access carbon molecules. The thing you need to understand, and this is what is gonna help you to determine whether or not you want to primarily use sugar, whether you want to primarily use protein, or whether you want to primarily use fat. The thing that's going to help you figure out which one of those you want to primarily use as carbon donators to your mitochondria is you've got to understand what process does your body have to go through to access the carbons in those molecules, number one, and number two, what is the byproduct? Okay, because every metabolic pathway, this is what I'm describing to you, the accessing of those carbon atoms, it's a metabolic pathway. Every metabolic pathway has metabolic waste. We call that metabolites, meaning the things that are created after after conversion happens, after it collects the energy and it converts, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. This is a law of thermodynamics. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is simply transformed and transferred into something else. So you're taking one thing, capturing the energy, but you're transforming it into something else. So what's going to help you figure out which one of those you really want, camps you want to be in, is you've got to figure out what process does your body have to go through to access the carbon atoms from a sugar, a fat, or a protein. Okay? That's what's going to help you determine which if you want to eat tons of fat, if you want to eat tons of sugar, or if you want to eat tons of protein. Okay? And even in those three formats, even in those three calorie sources, they come in so many different iterations. Okay? They come in so many different iterations because carbs, for instance, let's just talk about carbs really quickly. Carbs is a very big thing. Are you talking about starches? Are you talking about glucose? Are you talking about fructose? Are you talking about sucrose? Are you talking about sucralose? Are you talking about what sugar are you talking about? And how did you get it? And how was it formed? Was it formed from heat? Was it formed from, you see what I'm saying? Did you get it from fruit? Did you cook something and converted it into something else? Because remember, I told you that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Heat is energy. You're putting heat into the food. You're transforming the molecules. You are creating something else. You're performing chemistry on the food. So, I want to clean it, but if I do, whatever, I'm not going to stop the video. You guys are just going to have to look at some bad quality video. Sorry. So this is really what's going to help you to determine which one of those camps you want to be in, whether or not you want to be a carb burner or a fat burner or a protein burner. And yes, you can be nobody talks about being a protein burner, because everybody thinks that when they eat protein, they're putting on muscles, or you're taking protein and you're using it structurally, and you're not. You're not, depending on how you're getting it. Okay, depending on how you're getting it. If you are taking in tons and tons of protein as your primary calorie source, your body's going to use that for fuel. Even though I said your body doesn't use it for fuel, really your body is going to take that, break it down, and then it's going to convert it into something usable, and then it's going to access the carbon in that. Okay? That's what your body is going to primarily do if you're consuming tons of protein. All right? So you have to understand the process. You guys, I got to clean this. I can't even look at this for too long. Okay, you know what? When I take it out of the sun, it's better. All right. Okay. I just got to hold it. Look at that. So if you understand that process, which is what I talk about, like I said, in my community, I talk about the processes, like what does your body have to do to access the carbon from the sugar? Or what does your body have to do to access the carbon from the fat? Or what does your body have to do to access from the carbon from the protein? And which one of those processes is your body going to switch to first? Because your body has a format, your body has a formula. You don't really force it into anything. You know, you can unnaturally, but then you have another problem. That's really jacked up thinking. I'm not sure why people do this. But your body has it has a primary, then it has a fallback, then it has a fallback of the fallback, then it has an extreme backup, then it has an emergency backup system. Your body's going to go through that process of things. No matter what you do, it's going to go through that process of things, because your body is evolved to do something very specifically. It is fine-tuned to do something very specifically. All right. So this idea that you can force it into this and you can force it into that, it doesn't matter what you do. Your body is accessing carbons, period, point blank. You can't get away from that. You are a carbon burning machine. All right. Now, there is another source of energy, right? People think that food is the only source of energy. There is another source of energy it's the cleanest form, it's the cleanest source, and nobody thinks about it, nobody understands it, nobody talks about it. But there is another source of energy, and another erroneous, or not erroneous, but another very limited way of thinking is thinking that you are producing ATP for fuel, and that's really not what's happening. The production of ATP is just one step in the whole gathering of energy, but the production of ATP serves another very, very important function outside of generating energy. All right. Again, these are things that I go into depth on in my community, because people, you know, we look at things very mechanically. We look at things very gross and tangible, and we're not really understanding the underpinnings of a lot of things. Okay, because we're being told things, half truths, we're being told half processes, we're being shown half the equation, you know, and you need to see things in their fullness in order to understand what's going on. The way we practice education in this country is very fragmented. We teach very fragmented thinking. And so we have a very fragmented way of analyzing things, and so we miss things. We miss the simplest things. It's so simple. But again, I talk about these things in my community. So if you want to understand these things and see it the way I see it, or contribute to the conversation, you got to go to there in order to join. But other than that, for the purposes of this video, I'm telling you, you access the carbons in those molecules. Okay, you don't burn fat as fuel. Fat isn't fat when you burn it you don't shove fat into the mitochondria and burn that for fuel. It doesn't really work that way. You don't shove protein into the mitochondria and use that for it. That's not how it works. Your body is trying to access the carbons, and you can't get away from that. Okay, no matter what you do. So figure out the process by which it accesses the carbons, and then you'll understand which one of those calorie sources you should be primarily consuming in order to donate carbons to your mitochondria. Okay, I hope that helps someone. I love you guys. Bye.